as the cause or the basis. I like this shit clear. I don't know if this camera is clean, but and this everybody should be woke up, or at least they starting to wake up and sleep in. Derek Beast Mode Bellamy. Are you really Beast Mode, Derek? Are you really Derek Beast Mode Bellamy? If your mothers and your sisters and your brothers are being extorted, meaning paying to live on the soil that they own, you're not Beast Mode Bellamy. You want to be real for real Beast Mode? Meaning you have the lawful authority to prevent your sisters and your mothers and your sons, your brother's sons, from being extorted and ran off the land and in war camps and a whole bunch of other BS that they go through every day, then you're going to call me. And I'm going to explain to you how to enforce the law and how to get your people as a tribal government to enforce the law. If y'all don't, and this is why I'm on here now, my heart is grieved. I just got off the phone with one of the Muslims, and he said, I don't understand what you're telling me. I said, well, how do I articulate it to get you to understand? Because he got 4 kids. He's all jacked up about enforcing this law. He said, basically, he felt like either way he was going to get kicked out. Either because they're extorting, they're raising the extortion fees too high, and if he tries to enforce the law, he's going to get kicked out. I said, yeah, either way it's going to happen. Listen, Ronald DeMar Bay, good to see you. I'm going to tell y'all what's going to happen to you. You're going to know what's going to happen to you by way of what I tell you. You don't want to heed the warning? Hi, Angela Bay. You're going to be hurt.
What's going on, my nizzle?
I am on Facebook Live right now. Talking to the people who are afraid of enforcing the law, their right to the soil. They're afraid. They're subjected to the extortion of the corporations, and if they don't pay, then they get evicted. They get put in war camps, and all type of stuff happens to them. They get separated from their families, which is genocide. And they charge people as if they're the reason why they won't choose to enforce law as a body. But it's our fault. I'm telling y'all, and I'm telling her. And she ain't got no problem enforcing the law. It's our fault because we don't enforce the law as a body. That's it. And Constitution means body. So when we say enforce the Constitution, that means enforce the body. Share it on up. This is some good morning teacher right here. I have a love-hate relationship with the enslaved minds of the North Gate, but I try to help y'all be delivered. If y'all don't listen or contact me so I could give you the juice, I don't know what to do. Can I have some...
Did you need some paper?
Some lemons, please. And y'all don't know why I'm here. I'm here fighting face-to-face with the corporations so we can win. And those who are being oppressed by the corporations can learn how to actually stand. I'm on the phone with him. I'm on the phone with my brethren. And we're talking. And I heard a defeated heart. I heard a defeated heart. So I got to get on the live and explain to the masses what's going on. If I break this down to people in these videos concerning how to be free, and they don't apply what they're hearing, then they will remain slaves. The concerns that they have concerning what happens when you don't enforce law is the same concerns that they have concerning what happens when you do. The brethren said to me, he said, I got children, and stuff on the record, and these people will come after me. I will be evicted, and me and my children's going to be on the street. So I got to get this scratch, right? I got to get this money to pay these people who are extorting me, because they're going to intimidate me and put fear in me and prevent me from standing on the law. Okay. Then I said to him, you don't have any tribal government or friends who's claiming that they're your friend that will stand with you? He said, no. Then you motherfucker. Then you're not family. Okay. You do not care about one another. If you're sitting in your homes and you can band together as a tribal government because you live next to each other, or you know the law, you can go to them people's houses and show them how to stand on the law. And when law comes, when fake law comes, pseudo law comes, to evict them, to genocide them, to separate them from their families, to remove them from their land, you can say this. Because let me tell you how it works in the real world. Two militaries roll up. There's a line in the sand. Watch the old school movies where Troy, a lot of different movies have the setup where the two governments or the two militaries bind themselves and make sure everything is contract law, then enforce the Constitution. No, Ronald Bay, they don't need to do that. They need to get the fuck up, band together as a tribal unit, and show force of a lot of people who think and behave the same way. They've been bonding themselves and making things contract law and enforcing Constitution. The paperwork is the Constitution. We're talking about Articles 1, 2, 3, and 4. But there's another Constitution. It's called the body, the actual collective group of people that are stomping the grounds, enforcing the law. I make it make sense to people. And if I don't make it make sense to people, then something's wrong with me. I know I do. It's the people who won't enforce it. But let me show you something. There should be one male or female in your family. And here are these two armies. You're under military occupation, by the way. This is what would happen if someone rolled up on your land in real time, if we were doing what we were supposed to be doing for one another. There would be somebody who has this in their heart. Indigenous people have the right to the lands, territories, and resources which they have traditionally owned, occupied, or otherwise used or acquired. Oh. You know where that came from? That came from a collective body of the world. That's where that came from. Hold on a minute. Because I get real passionate. And sometimes, you know, I make the customers feel some type of way because of how I'm talking. So I got to go out here. Okay, I have laws and writs and affidavits that have been being put in since 2006. Okay, I'm not filing any more paperwork on the record, and I damn sure ain't being afraid of somebody coming and talking to me about what I am and not doing on my blood soil. I know how to tell a human being, another person that walks up on me, I own this soil by blood. So you can't tell me shit, but I can tell you something. When a policy enforcer walks up to me in this land, I tell him, I'm an indigenous tribal member. I own this by blood. You cannot do anything to me. You see? The first thing they're going to do is send a delegation. A delegation is a human being that has the terms and the agreements and the contract of the service corporation. That's a delegate. There's a setup. There's two militaries. And there's two generals. Both generals meet in the middle. They talk. If they can come to a common agreement, then war doesn't happen. If they can't, war happens. Normally, nobody wants to shed blood. Real generals don't. So the war doesn't happen if you come to agreement. Normally, they walk up on your house. They got some Suburbans or something like that. If you had enough people around you, then they would never do that. You see? So here's our problem. It ain't that we don't know the law. It isn't that we don't understand the law. It isn't that we don't anything that has to do with it. It's because we don't enforce it in real time. So they have handcuffs. You don't have handcuffs. So you get zip ties because you don't like the metal. Anyway, they have clothing that protects them when people try to attack them. You don't have that. So get some. Create some. They have technology, communication methods between their family members to where they know where each other is at all times. You don't have that. So start creating those type of things. They have systems in place. When other military people try to come against them, they have strategies in place. They have things that they do. Right? We don't have none of that. We don't practice none of that. Okay? We're too busy trying to get money so we can pay the extortion fee. I tried to get on here to show the people how they can enforce the law so they do not have to be enslaved. Here's how you do it. The Universal Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People is number one. That particular document, if you actually quote it to people who come and try to extort you off your land, the Universal Declaration moves them because it's a world agreed upon document. All right. I get on here because my brethren, he didn't want to hear it. He's tired of hearing it. Well, I can't stop speaking the law. I'm birthed to try to deliver enslaved minds. I'm free. My mind is free. My body is free. I walk around and nobody moves me. No human being, no living soul moves me. They're moving my families right now. They're abusing and oppressing my people right now. But I have yet to meet a human soul that can move me. Why? Because I'm standing in the law. It does work. And each time someone tries to move me, or each, like for example, here, I've been here 12 straight days. I haven't slept in a bed, a real bed. I've been petitioning nationals to come band together as a tribal unit in a place that I own, and I've been standing in my airship for 10 straight days. Each corporate body member that tries to move me out of their corporation, when I'm sitting there for hours, I proof of service them my land ownership, my blood soil rights. And I tell them that the only way I will move is if they pay me. They gotta move. Where do they have to move and why? I own the soil. I've asserted my right of claim on paper, in the Facebook, in the airways, in the commissioners meeting on Facebook Live. It's been recorded. I sent my airship proof of claim to the President of Mexico and the Secretary of State of Mexico. I've asserted it in different corporations. I've hand delivered it to people. What now? They don't know what I'm doing. The reason why I sit there for hours while these cameras is on me, and the higher ups tell the lower ups to go remove me off the land so I could teach the lower ups what it means to be airship owners, deliver their mind, and so I could teach the higher ups about their responsibilities to me in air, a blood air. I face off with these living beings. I watch them manifest before me. Their heads shaking. They're all afraid. Their chakras are all jacked up. The molecules in their bodies is messing up because they exist in fear, because I am living as air in their face. My spirit says air. My spirit says owner. My mind says owner. My consciousness says owner. My consciousness says I will die before I let you move me. Now, my brethren said that they're going to extort him for money and he's going to have to pay it, or him and his family is going to be on the streets. Wrong answer. Their families are going to be on the street. Because the people here, they're with it. They're with it. I got people asking me when the meetings are. I got Terreno Moors ready to suit up and boot up. Andre Alton, good to see you. Mustafa Abdul. Muda Kabir, good to see you. Hey, Grand Sheik. My soul is it's never indebted to you. It is always appreciative of you. And when you get a hold of me again, or when we come into contract, also mean friendship again, I'll let you know everything, all the positive stuff that's been going on. Part of why I am the way I am is because of you, literally. How you presented yourself before me is the reason why I am, that energy is imputed in me. concerning my blood rights to the land. You're talking to the blood when you're speaking to a blood owner, the one who's owning the soil by blood. You're not speaking to the human being. You're speaking to the blood. You're speaking to the blood of all the ancestral tribes that have ever existed and that is ever connected to your DNA. You know how much power that is? What the fuck is wrong with the minds of our people? Oh my God. Do you know much power is coursing through your veins if you allow and observe and allow that energy to course through you? Islamism to you, brethren. I get so passionate. Excuse my language. This is too much for some people in the mornings, but I'm going to be doing this all day, every day. I meditated so hard on whether staying on Facebook was beneficial to my psyche. It's so much energy and so many minds and so many things going on. After people touch you in a video, they're thinking, their thought form is on you. They're coming together. Some are talking about you. Some want to contact you. Some do contact you. Some don't. You gotta navigate through the seas of consciousnesses in order to find the ones that's has enough courage to stand with you. I'm helping extract people right now. I have a mother taking a document to the governor's office on Tuesday, since Monday is a holiday. That man will get released. Here's the juice for y'all that stayed on here and want to be free. The United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People is number one. Anything coming out the United Nations right now is your golden goose egg. There's a person called the Special Reporter. You're going to go and look up the Special Reporter, and there's 44 thematics, and there's 12 country laws. The 12 country laws and the 44 thematics are the people who are charged with enforcing the law for their each particular indigenous tribe. That is OCHRC, I do believe. If I'm wrong, then just get on the United Nations website and you can source Special Reporter or write that into Google. Once you get to that page, you will see a list of everyone that is appointed to speak or present on your behalf. And they have an email, a private email. Whatever your issues are concerning your life, you can write it to them. But if you don't do something about your issues first, when you write to them, they're going to say, well, what have you done? Have you Have you stood? Have you fought back? Have you put paperwork in place? Have you done A, B, and C? And if you haven't, then they're probably not going to look your way. But for me, when they contact me, I proclaimed airship 8 days ago to the universe. I printed out so many copies of my affidavits and my writs. I serve everyone that challenges my authority as heir. After serving them, grand rising love, I'm sorry, me and you get into it, Marcel, about how to properly stand. You're right. You can enforce your law anywhere, okay? And you don't have to come in order to learn how to do it. If you really do have a tribe that's ready to bang, if they come together as a unified body and stand, it will work. But if they don't, you will never achieve the goal of freedom, because we were free when we were united. We weren't free as individual families who was just trying to have one or two conscious minds enforcing the law. We were free when every single consciousness was thought forming the same thing. That's when we were free. Now, the thought form is divided. It's, I'm afraid because they're going to extort my money. I'm afraid they'll move me off the land. I'm on probation. I don't know what to do. I don't understand. I'll just give up. Okay, I will stand today, but I might not stand tomorrow. A double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. Am I wrong in saying that? A double-minded person is unstable in all their ways.
Amen, brother.
Let's get to another one. No one, having put their hand to the plow, looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God. That's another scripture in your heart for you. I'm preaching, I'm teaching. Listen, the kingdom of God is freedom of consciousness. It's the ability to exercise your own free will without another human being trying to prevent that, as long as you're not injuring anyone in the exercise of your free will. Share it on up, share it on up. Yeah, the Rails of Tears. Yes, and I did my research. My people were on the Dawes Roll. I found me on the Dawes Roll. And I found me on the Trail of Tears too. Yes. Yes, Michelle. That's right. I love you dearly, honey. And instead of trying to convince you to be the tribal government with me, because I would love your presence and your assistance and your mind, I'm going to teach you how to be a tribal government with anybody you deal with. And when you're dealing with people, if they don't want to band together as a tribal government, then separate from them. Because if they're of no use to you. If they can't come to the same exact location as you, which I got locals here, so I don't really need the Northgate people to come and assist me anymore. I am touching the minds of the people in the local areas now. They're talking to their parents. They're dealing with the church folk. They're getting to know me to make sure it's cool to allow me into dwelling spaces. Listen, I'll send you the documents. The reason why I don't send any documents to anybody is because they won't enforce them anyway. They won't stand on them. Why would I, after preparing affidavits and writs, send them to people who aren't going to actually enforce them? I'm sick. I'm tired. I felt like I need to disconnect from the Northgate because they're mentally enslaved. When I say mental enslavery, if we know that no other remedy or answer works except us banding together as a tribal government, and we don't, then we are enslaved. The enslaved mind does not do what it's supposed to facilitate the process of freedom in itself, in its conscious self. It only facilitates, or it only creates an illusion of freedom. Because when you talk about being free, there is a will that is trying to bind you, and that would be the collective mind of your occupier. That's the will trying to bind you and make you subservient to it. And that will go all the way back to genetics. So the dominant gene created a gene that was recessive, and that recessive gene grew to be a nation, also known as the genetics of the, I believe it's the Saracens. All the way back, they called them albinoids or Saracens, or there was a few names for them. But the psyche of that genetic code is we came from dominance, so we have to mirror dominance or try to become the dominant one, right? So over time, that particular genetic code fought us and beat our minds into subservient to it. And now that's where we stand. As a collective genetic code, we are the subservient one to the consciousness of the occupier and the slave master. How are we that? If I can't sit comfortable on soil that my blood purchased, there's a problem. What you mean? You have hundreds of thousands of indigenous people in those cities. You talk about a psyop, you talk about some bullshit. You have hundreds of thousands of millions of copper-colored people in America. They get trained and taught on how to stand together as a unified body, and they are crying about being enslaved. You know that's a psychological fuck up. What are you talking about? They drinking. When they band together, they can go to the club. They can stand in the bathroom 4-5 deep and get pretty the fuck up. And they plan is for show. We finna go out and have a good motherfucking time. Woo! Come on, girl. Yeah, put on that music. And about 8 or 10 of them hit the club. Pop, lock it and drop in. Pop, lock it and drop in. But the 8 or 10 of them that's enslaved and don't no longer want to pay in order to live where they live, they don't know how to band together to enforce the law, though. What the hell's going on here? You can band together to sit and watch football games. All the brodies, let's get in the man cave. sip on a few beers and watch this game and talk about it. But we don't know how to do anything else when it comes to uniting together. Huh? What else? What else do we band together to do? Look, y'all know that I'm right. Y'all know that I'm right. So, because of that, I do feel like I'm wasting my breath. I do feel like if I have proven with factual living principles, I'm not locked up, and I've sat in these corporations. I've faced off with them. There's no policy. I'm standing by myself, and families are telling me they can't do what I do singularly, individually. So there's a stark contrast there. Somebody's a lie here. And I am not that. I am not a lie, okay? I will not be a lie unto myself, and I will not be a lie unto you. And my yacht say, this law word, my yacht is telling me, her husband, the truth. Look, I say I'm going to test you, my yacht. I'm going to take these 42 principles, and I'm going to weigh them against the feather of my heart. And I'm going to stand in all of them. And when I do, whatever I say is going to be enforceable. The presence, the atmosphere that you set when your conscious mind unifies itself with the law and how should you say this? Resolves itself to stand in it. I'm not talking about standing it in your four corners on paperwork. I'm talking about I'm hand delivering to the living beings. Hey, buddy. Woo! In your face. How you doing today? Yeah. You want to know who I am? Oh, I know who you are. You're the sheriff. I'm the heir. You want to know what I get to do as the heir? Let me show you. Here's this paperwork. This paperwork say I get to do blah, 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 blah. And guess what? I'm going to do it. And then I look at him, and he look at me. And we look at each other. And he's thinking, is this nigga serious? And I'm thinking, this nigga is real serious. And he knows it. He knows that there is nothing he can do about what I'm saying right now. And then, what's my enforcement? After me speaking my word, I got two. Since I don't have no people who know how to band together as a tribal government, I had to call on one that has already been banded together and is a tribal government. That's the United Nations. The United Nations has indigenous families and representatives for the indigenous families all over the world. And if people want to get stupid, I also put that clause in there. Yeah, the United Nations knows what I'm doing. And you're seeing what they're capable of doing. They have their own military. Come on, baby. So, if you do anything to me while I'm asserting my airship rights, the United Nations is going to come in and smash on you. Oh, let me quote it again. 50 million. 50 million Moors. And we're crying about being enslaved? All right, let's give an example. New York. Do a New York census. Tell me how many Moors are in New York right now. That's where the majority of my bros I'm assisting right now are. Tell me that. There's enough, but we're going to band together to do everything else but enforce law. And that's a shame. That is a crying shame. Now, I could get on here and I could give you laws. Okay, let me do it. And what is this accomplishing? What is me coming on here constantly encouraging the consciousness of the collective body doing for me? I'm trying to get y'all free, man. When y'all get free, my energy, it increases more and more. I'm about to go get the bodies of my family members out the ground. What you mean, partner? This is what it's saying. Now I got to keep my good morning to you. I got to keep my hold on a minute. I'm gonna go to a little different area. I hope that y'all can hear me. Cause now you're gonna have no excuse. And you're gonna say two things to me. Oh, he's a lie, and forget him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But when I give you no excuse, right, then who's wrong if whatever happens to you happens to you? You have no excuse when somebody does it for you, when somebody shows you it, when somebody models it, when somebody stands and has to get beat up by the corporations in order to show you, when they sit for days on end in different corporate entities. I'm gonna show y'all why I'm doing this. The truth of why I'm doing this. I'm gonna show you. Now, pretty soon, I'm forcing the owners of the corporation into contract with me. What that looks like is they're going to have to sit down and talk to me about my hereditaments. Now, in law, doing commercial activity on the soil that I own, it affords me the benefit of what the corporations earn and the goods that they produce. So right now, I'm acquiescing, and I pay here and there for my food. Majority of the time, I get it for free though, because they love me and they love freedom, and I preach that all day long. I preach not being an economic debt slave. I preach not accepting Federal Reserve notes as a form of payment. I preach living in freedom. Indigenous people should be doing that. So when they hear me preaching it, the common folk that aren't afraid and haven't been entrapped like the North Gate, they receive it wholeheartedly. It's nothing to them to accept it. Yesterday, I met a whole family. It takes me about 7 minutes to explain everything to someone, 7 to 9 minutes. And I'm calling them. Wow. You should have seen what. Hold on a minute. They're S like sun. Well, their minds are free. That's why they can receive it. Their minds haven't been corrupted by. I'm gonna show you the multi-pronged attack that's been exacted on y'all. Now you show me that I'm wrong when spiritually I've been being revealed these things. Check this out. Temple, mosque, synagogue, and Roman Catholic Church. That's 4 spiritual entities that bind all of our people spiritually. That's the spirit bound. All right. So what that means is you don't use the power of your spirit to enforce the laws in your heart. That's spiritual slavery. How is your soul enslaved? All of the sciences are supposed to be used to create things and gift it to the world. We use sciences to boost our ego and to show each other that we're smarter than one another. There are people who are creating things that have patents on new inventions every day. We're the only ones not creating with our sciences. So that goes to soul slavery, because out of the soulish realm comes, it's a subconscious thing. It comes the most beautiful of creations, right? So now you have 4 spiritual entities that bind you spiritually. You have 4 soulish. Let me think of the soul. That would be sound. That would be light. That would be food, and that would be natural resource. So the soul has to do with the earth, Mama Gaia. Come on, communicate it with me, ancestral spirits. Energy, soul. You're disconnected from the earth. So that's how they entrap your soul. So long as you're disconnected from the energy force of the earth, Mama Gaia, Mama Nature, you will never feel like your soul has enough power to do anything. So there's your enslavement of your soul. Now, how is your body enslaved? If your body doesn't know, if it doesn't do what your mind knows is right, then your body's enslaved. I mean, so I broke free. I became intimate, because to know something in Hebrew means intimacy. Knowledge in the Hebrew language means intimacy. Hebrew is Yehudi. That's what you are, as well as Asiatic Moors. You're Yehudi, ones who crossed the river. Soul contracts, yes. And I have them with my ancestral spirits. I would never dishonor them. Because when they banged, I've watched enough videos to know what my ancestral spirits did when someone came against their children. What? Yeah, right. I no offense to my brethren, but he said to me, forget it. I'm gonna just give up, basically. Then you're not concerned about your family or your seed. You're saying to me, I need to pay the extortion fee to protect my seed. So you would teach your children that the most effective way to be free is to acquiesce to the demands of their enemy. You would subject your children to the teaching of acquiescence or subservience or submission. And you know the ending result is the same. He said to me, no matter what, I'm going to be on the streets. Well, it ain't really the streets, it's the land. And the ancestral spirits are forcing you to get back on the land anyway. That's where you belong, on the land. What the hell? In the rivers, with the trees. When you wake up, you should hear the songs of your animal kingdom, your friends. So y'all are comfortable, and Mama Gaia wants you back, and she's going to force the circumstance where you're going to learn how to go back to her and take care of her and utilize her for the things that you need. Lest you want to keep on. This is minority speaking now. Who's feeding you? Another human being is feeding you. How do you get fed by that human being? You pay them. Now, didn't slaves pay the slave master with their bodies, with their energy of work? And that was their fair and just compensation, the use of the land of the slave master who occupied and took it over from you in the first place? So come in, take your land, enslave you, and then tell you in order to be free, you have to do what they say. What the fuck? And you like, okay. What? Excuse you? What? Yeah, right. Okay. Let's try again, buddy. This United Nations Declaration, it says we have the right to dig up, actually exhume the bodies of our people. You think I'm not about to go and do some excavations? You think I'm not about to go build some new mounds? You think that the corporations, who has the right to feed you? And also who has the right to starve you? Yeah, 666, the mark of the beast. The 1666, the Magna Carta and the Cesta QV Act Trust that put the eggs, the actual eggs and the seeds of our Asiatic brethren into a document that said they own everything. This is why, without the mark, that is the corporate instrument, and the if you're in that trust, without separating from that.
Sir?
Hold on, just a sec. I gotta talk to him.
I'm gonna have to ask you if you could leave now. You've been here all night, and my servers need this booth for their customers to come in so they can make money.
So do I need to pay your servers or this particular establishment to stay in here for more time?
No, but do you see what I'm saying?
Here you go. I got to give that to you.
What do you need to give me? I don't need that, sir.
You do need this.
I don't need it.
Y'all gonna call the police on me. The police already have these. What I'm doing here, along with the rest of my homes here, is I'm asserting my right to be able to dwell wherever I want. And that means in the space of a corporate entity as well. Now, I did pay the $10. That was about 1 o'clock this morning. And me paying affords me the use of this space. So if they need this booth, there's another booth I can go to, or I can continue to pay them for their services so that I can remain right where I'm at. So she just left, and she's going to go talk to her superior. I try to hand her my my papers, my affidavits and my writs, proving my right to be able to sit wherever I want, for however long I want, on my soil. But y'all don't want to do this? Or you would just get up and move, though. You would go to the next location. You would say, I'm afraid because they're going to move me off my land. No. This is my right to be where I want. without another human being coming to tell me I don't belong here, I can't be here, whatever the case may be. She's gonna ask me to leave because the people on the cameras, the higher ups, say he been here too long. No, I ain't been here long enough. Because my people been here for thousands of years. You're just getting started on this motherfucking land. And you gonna come here and try to tell me where I don't belong. Please. Now I'm gonna go to my brother and I'm gonna talk to him about what's going on. And me and him are gonna continue to sit here. Nobody's gonna move me. And y'all gonna see that. And then when you see it, what excuse will you have? Oh, they're gonna kick me out of my home. They're gonna kick me off my land. I have to pay them. I have to sit and keep on paying these people to live. Okay, well, I'm about to prove to you. Because she just come up to me and told me I had to leave. Y'all heard that, right? And I just asserted my right of claim of soil right now. And I tried to give her the paperwork that would serve her and let her know that so her superiors can look at that shit. Right? I got my laws in front of me sitting right here. Indigenous people, indigenous people. Do I have to beat it into the head of every single person that I meet? Indigenous people have the right. Indigenous people have the right. Indigenous people have the right. How many fucking times does the world need to say that to people? Continue to go get your policy enforcers. Continue to go send your corporate members to me. Continue to bring them to my face so I can keep on telling them what my rights are. Because they need to know what my rights are more than I do. Because they don't understand anything. Except corporate operations. That's the operations of a dead thing. I'm a living being. Living beings don't do what dead things tell them to do. The hell you mean? Now, maybe because I'm in here doing this live and other people ain't paying attention to me, they eating, they enjoying themselves. I ain't even doing nothing to these people. I'm not injuring nobody. I'm not I'm minding my business. I'm enjoying my land. What the fuck? Look, and I will acquiesce, and I will pay them to eat for now. But pretty soon, you know what it says in the commercial contracts of the laws that I read? That the corporations are to afford all the goods and the services to the indigenous people free of charge. If you go pay a corpse to live, and you don't pay me for this juice, I probably won't be dealing with you. Send me some energy so I can continue to do what I'm doing since you don't want to do it. I'm going to get off here so I can face these people because I'm about to stand face to face with the manager of this particular corporate body. And when I stand face to face with him, I will remain here. And when I do, I will get back online and show you I'm just fine. I told them they're going to have to call the police. And when the police get here, you know what I'm going to do? The same shit I'm doing with them. And I will remain. So, y'all share this up. And now that you have a living example of how to assert your right of claim, you have no excuse. I'll see you in a few moments. I love you very much. I pray your minds be free. I don't pray. Everything in me wants y'all to know this feeling, to actually exist in this feeling of this knowing. You have to be free. It's a being. It's not a doing. Yes, I am. Yes, I am, Queen. And I thank you, because if you gave me one, I definitely will follow it. Don't order me on my land. What the fuck you mean? Is that an order? And my people were generals. If you look onto archive.gov, they were literally generals. They put federal law into place. They were dignitaries. They were appointed. They were recommended by other military generals. My people were hard when it came to military occupation. Whoa, come on, baby. Share it on up, share it on up. I'll give you the next live example as soon as I can. Love you very much.